Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Ride Option Podcast. Hello. It is time. It is a new episode of the Sprint Ride Option Podcast. It'd be great if I could get the name right. Fantastic start. Part of the Blue Wire Hustle Network. It's Friday afternoon. It's time to let your hair down a little bit. Have some fun. And what better way to have fun than with your best friend's podcast, the Sprint Ride Option Podcast. I said it already. I'll say it again because we got it right this time, Jason. It's all about improving as you go on. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. I am Andrew Pasquini. To my right, as always, Jason Aponte. Jason Aponte, how are you doing on this lovely Friday evening, as they would say?
Great. Ready to talk 49ers football somehow in some capacity, even though we should be talking about them in a certain game that nobody cares about on Sunday. But hey, there's always 49ers news. And the one thing that I've noticed covering this team, there's always something to talk about. And there will always be something to talk about. So
I was literally just going to say that. Like, I think the Niners' best ability is to somehow always be part of the news cycle. Like, it's just some way, somehow. Like, I'm worried about these podcasts, during the off season because we're content creators, Jason. We got to create content. And during the season, the content is created for us. The games happen. The NFL puts on these games that we get to talk about and have fun. But in the offseason, those games don't happen, and we gotta come up with ideas. Like, we have an award show next week, Jason. Did you know that? I don't think I told you that yet. We'll talk about that detail later. But man, whether it be some dude from Boston talking about Jimmy Garoppolo getting traded to the Buccaneers, the second greatest quarterback in NFL history, not knowing about 2022 quarterbacks, Deebo Samuel not getting an MVP vote, things like that. We have things to talk about because the 49ers never stop. You know what? Dare I say it? The 49ers run the NFL. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm making that up. I don't have anything to back that up with. But the 49ers run the NFL because I said so. Sprint Right Option Podcast quoted.
Yeah, I mean, who cares about what actually it is? It's what the podcasters say, right? And we're saying, and I agree with you. But, the 49ers are a news cycle. They have been this entire year. We are blessed to cover a team that somehow, some way, will still give us something to talk about, even on Christmas Eve, whether it be a tweet, whether it be rumors of what's going on early in the year, all of those things. We are lucky, and the content never stops. Thank you, 49ers. I'm so happy that we covered this team.
The 49ers are the NBA of the NFL, where nobody really cares about the result on the field. It's just all about the things we could talk about on the side. I didn't even know the NBA was actively going with how much I had to hear the names Ben Simmons and James Harden the past 2 days. But did you know they play basketball at this time? I didn't know. So the Niners are kind of like that. Who cares about a Super Bowl? I want to talk about what Joe Montana said. I want to talk about all this stuff. And
it's funny you mentioned that. I watched the first basketball game that I've watched in 2 years yesterday, only because FanDuel said, all you have to do is bet on one of these games, and if you lose, they're going to give you your money right back. So cool. I bet on the Nets and Wizards, and my parlay lost because the Nets couldn't score two stupid more points, but I got my money back. But I watched the entire game, and I was lost. People are I used to be so in tune with the NBA. I am listening to these guys' names, and I'm literally, I have no idea who the hell you are. Literally, Where did you come from? I don't know who you are. This is a fake sport.
Oh, yeah. No, to me, I love the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are very fun. Basketball for me is a sport. When my team's good, I will watch it. But I'll be lying to you if I know more about the Warriors than just Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. I know the role players, but who's this Choiza guy? I don't know, man. I'm a football fan. I watch soccer now, baseball, things like that. Basketball just kind of fell to the back. I don't know who Choiza is. Namaja Bjelica, apparently he's a hot topic in the Warriors street. Basketball doesn't start until the playoffs. Let's be honest. Right. I didn't expect today's podcast to start with us just slandering the NBA, but here we are. It's the off season. Jason, let's talk about the 49ers. That's why we're here. That's why these beautiful people are here. And, let's start with the Joe Montana stuff. I know we have a whole other quarterback we could talk about here in a minute. But let's go in the order of greatest of all time. The second greatest quarterback of all time, Joe Montana. He said some things the other day regarding what the 49ers should do with the quarterback position. I remember he said things last year about the quarterback position, like Mac Jones should be the pick at 3. But this time he is out here talking about how the 49ers need to bring back Jimmy Garoppolo. He said, keep Jimmy. He's not sure if Trey Lance is ready to start.
And he talked to players.
I talk to players. I talk to players. No, I think half of the sentence is true. I think Trey Lance isn't ready to start yet. We have a whole off season to find out, and he's going to be the starter. It's the Jimmy Garoppolo conversation. I feel like a lot of people have gotten lost with it, and Joe Montana is probably one of them because he probably pays attention to the NFL on the surface, and it's not as much to do with Jimmy Garoppolo's ability. It has everything to do with the money they can save from him. And whether Trey Lance is ready or not, that's not relevant. We're going to find out either way. Keeping Jimmy isn't an option at this point.
It's two things that he said. He said, keep Jimmy until you find something to get him for, right? So that's the part that people are just cutting off, one. But two, a little bit of this feels like PTSD on his own end because people were calling for him to go, for the guy behind him. So it feels a little bitter. I want to remind people of one more thing. This offseason, he talked about at length with Grant Cohn, and this isn't a clickbait thing. This is an actual interview. I don't understand why they gave Jimmy Garoppolo the money up front immediately. They should have waited. What changed your tune, bro? When did it change?
Yeah.
Listen, all respect to the man because he's one of the greatest to do it.
Yes.
Andrew, I'm going to let you say it because I'm in complete agreement with it, and you said it first. You say it.
Boy, I'm going to make a Michael Jordan comparison, buddy. Listen, man, Joe Montana is one of the greatest of all time. That nothing to take it away. What he did on a football field is greater than anything I will ever do in my life. Let's be 1,000% honest. But Michael Jordan, also the greatest basketball player of all time. That hasn't translated to his after playing career with the Charlotte Bobcats Hornets. They're not exactly a successful franchise. And just because I think we've kind of fallen into this trap with former players where we kind of carry their weight on these things. But just because they're the greatest of all time doesn't mean their football opinions should be taken as gospel.
Boom.
And that's just what it is. I would prefer you to listen to Joe Montana's opinion more than
over mine.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally fine. But you see the things Brett Favre says. Obviously Joe Montana is nowhere near what Brett Favre said. Please do not think I'm comparing them to it at all. But nobody listens to Brett Favre. Nobody listens to Charles Barkley. I mean, I guess people listen to Charles Barkley for the memes, but nobody listens to Charles Barkley when he trashes on the current day product. It's every sport, baseball, basketball, football. These legends are legends for what they are, but their opinions on current day things more often than not tend to be what was the status quo of what they had. And things have changed. Sports are widely different than they were in the 80s and 90s. They're bigger. They're worth more money and things like that. And it's changed. Just because Joe Montana is the greatest of all time, his opinions on current day football doesn't change that. But and I understand why people are listening to him. I get it. He's Joe Montana, greatest quarterback in Niners history. But sometimes we don't need to get to use a word from another podcast we love. We don't need to get into tizzy and everything he says. So that's kind of my thing on it.
And here's my thing. Is the people perpetuating what he said are on that side of the narrative. Because those same people that are saying, see, Joe said that, are the ones that said, what does Steve Young know? When Steve Young said the kids should play. So, look. It's off season. We're going for content. We're trying to listen, man. Who cares? Yes. I'm not disrespecting you, Joe Montana. Who cares what you have to say? Who cares what you have to say? Seriously, in this matter, who cares? I don't care.
And at the same time, who cares what we say about it, right? Like Joe Montana is absolutely entitled to his opinion.
Which switched though. It switched.
Which switched. Throw that out there. That's an important comment. Joe Montana is absolutely entitled to his opinion. And I guess the Spirit Ride Option podcast has fallen a little bit into this trap because we opened a show with it, but part because of how much it took over Twitter, and we like to kind of keep our finger on the pulse of what Twitter's talking about. That's what I like to think separates us from a lot of podcasts is we really like to see what Twitter's talking about. But just because Joe Montana said it doesn't mean it has to be the big news story.
Right.
Because he, as I said, he's entitled to his opinion. That's totally okay. Now, is he having flashbacks to his situation? Probably, yes, absolutely. And I don't blame him, man. Like, that's a life-changing event. He had to move to Kansas City, this whole thing. Like, I get it. It sucks to be forced out of a position. I get that. But man, just because he says it, just because he's the greatest of all time, doesn't make it any more or less true. Just like, hey, we're podcasters. Our opinions don't make anything any more or less true. Obviously, I hope you guys lean towards what Montana says a little more than us because, you know, he's been in the NFL. But take it for what it's worth. I guess that's the best way. Don't think the 49ers quarterback position is wide open now because Joe Montana said this.
And let's end it on this. When Joe Montana said that he thought that Mac Jones was the pick, everybody was like, what the hell is this guy talking about? It should have been this guy. Listen, don't let someone else's opinion confirm your priors.
Yes.
Okay? Because you're falling into a trap now. If you believe something, believe it. If Joe Montana said that, you know, we were very pro Justin Fields, Justin Fields was the pick, I wouldn't be like, see, Joe Montana said it. No. Yeah. I believe that on my own. I don't need Joe Montana to confirm my priors. Okay, guys? Look, it's Super Bowl, it's Radio Row time. They're gonna ask them those same sort of questions, but the energy is not kept from when he says something that you disagree with to now something you agree with. Again, not disrespecting him. Clearly, the GOAT, we get it. All of those things, fine. But again, Michael Jordan has opinions. He drafted Kwame Brown #1. He's the GOAT. What happened, bro? Like, it's again, playing football and knowing what guys are going to pop, completely two different things. And that's the way we should end this, and we should move on to the next subject because I feel like we've already spent too much time on this.
Yes. So let's go from one person's opinion to another person's opinion, something that created kind of some waves on 49ers Twitter. And it's something that I think we're going to disagree a little bit on, Jason Aponte, and that's okay. Brian Boucher, thank you for the donation. I guess this is on topic. We could dive into
it is.
Jimmy gets traded before draft, yes or no? Yeah. I think it really comes down to whenever he comes back from his surgery, teams can kind of get the official.
I think it's draft day.
You think it's draft day?
Draft day.
I'll say before. I think the second a team like the Steelers, like the Washington football, I refuse to call them the Commanders. You cannot pay me enough to call them the Commanders. The Washington football team. I think if they get a clear, they'll trade for him before the draft just so they kind of know what they have. So I'll say yes before the draft. I'll take that. Okay. So I don't know who said it, and I apologize. I don't mean to forget the names. I mean, I know it was a Boston radio station. And if somebody has a name, let me know.
NBC Sports Boston.
NBC Sports Boston kind of floated the idea of the Niners potentially trading Jimmy Garoppolo to the Buccaneers, which is a place not too far-fetched of a thought because that's a place people think he may go. In exchange for Tom Brady's contract rights. And I don't think this is something that'll happen. So keep everything I say on this topic in that realm because I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen, guys. And I want to get Jason's opinion on this first. Zolak, thank you. Scott Zolak, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. I knew you guys were going to come up clutch. Scott Zolak said this. Niners possibly trading Jimmy Garoppolo to the Buccaneers for Tom Brady's contract rights. Jason, I'll let you start. I'll let you start on this one. What's your thoughts on this theory and everything? What do you got on this?
It's nonsense. No, and no. And here, let me get spicy real quick because as a guy who played the position and is supposed to know football, for him to float this idea out here, let me punch holes all through this because it's too easy. Okay, let's start with this. One, the 49ers would be out of their mind to absolutely trade something in the hopes that Tom Brady comes back, unless they know he's coming back. If you know he's coming back, then do it. That's fine. And we'll have the discussion about him and Trey Lance. But if you're trading Jimmy Garoppolo when you can get draft capital from another team for the hopes that the GOAT comes back, you're dumb. Number two, Bruce Arians would absolutely lose his mind trying to quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo in that offense. Has anyone watched Bruce Arians' offenses ever? Scott Zolak? Anyone who's floating this idea out there, this man, risk it, no biscuit, Bruce Arians would lose his mind on a 3rd and 7 when Jimmy Garoppolo throws it to the 4-yard line and he gets tackled and they have to punt. Jimmy Garoppolo, they would never sign off on a trade like this. So there's number 2. Number 3. Why on earth are we listening to people who slandered Cam Newton, right? Not for his play, but for his suits and things like that? Listen, this is absolute garbage nonsense, and I'm tired. This is day 12 of the offseason. I'm tired. I'm tired of this already, bro. I thought we walked away from this after the NFC Championship game. I was like, hey, man, we lost. It's cool. We're turning the page. Let's go to trade. Now we have to listen to the idea that the 49ers are going to trade, hypothetically, for Tom Brady to come out of his retirement, and to listen to the idea that Bruce Arians would actually sign off on Jimmy Garoppolo being his quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo would make Bruce Arians walk away from the Tampa Bay Bucs job quicker than Jameis Winston ever did. Jameis Winston, 10 out of 10 times would be the preferred match as opposed to Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's not my opinion. That is an objective fact. Why on earth would Bruce Arians say, hey, I want you to throw the ball down the field? Oh, no, Jimmy Garoppolo's here. Let's just change all of that. It makes absolutely no sense. I'm tired of this, bro. Like, if Tom Brady wants to walk his ass over here as a free agent, bet. If Tom Brady wants to do an underneath the table deal with the 49ers and they trade Jimmy Garoppolo, bet. But then you're asking the Bucs to sign off on a quarterback that does not do what Bruce Arians wants. None of this scenario makes sense. I am tired. In day 12 of the offseason, I am tired. I want to go to sleep already. Wake me up when it's training camp, man. Please. Goodness gracious. None of this makes any sense in anyone's brain, bro. Please, man. Please make it stop.
Jason, you made a lot of fantastic points there. You're right on everything you said. And since this is our podcast, I get to break rules. I'm just going to break rules, unwritten rules. I'm breaking them. Because you're absolutely right. Bruce Arians would hate Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think that offense fits. The Niners would be really not smart to throw in draft pick compensation because they probably have to, because they're getting, an asset, a quote unquote asset. Let's jump through all those hoops, though. Let's just imagine those hoops are non-existent. Brian Boucher, why do you think I left Twitter? Jason, need a break from all this nonsense? Absolutely. Let me throw all this nonsense in. Let me tell you why this wouldn't be the worst idea. Just from the Niners side, just from the 49ers side, because this isn't happening. It's not going to happen. If the 49ers trade Jimmy Garoppolo to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady's contract is not going to be involved. Let's be 1,000%. The Niners will get a 3rd-round pick. We'll be happy with it. But let me play devil's advocate.
They get a second.
Whatever. I just picked a number. We could discuss exact compensation future episode. Let me do this. Let's have this conversation. So let's say the Niners trade James Garoppolo to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they have to kick in a 4th-round pick to get Tom Brady's contract rights. Let me tell you why I wouldn't necessarily be against it. It's not happening, Jason, but let me tell you why I wouldn't be against it.
Oh, I'm not against getting Brady. I just don't know the other side would say, yes, I'll take Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes, I don't think they would. And so that defeats this whole purpose. But what can you do? You're already getting rid of Garoppolo, right? The big thing is the cap hit you're getting rid of. And let's just say, hypothetically, I'm making up a draft pick. I'm making it up. 4th-round pick. Jimmy Garoppolo and a 4th-round pick for Tom Brady's contract. I would be comfortable with the Niners' ability to get Tom Brady to come out of retirement, because Tom Brady has wanted to play for the 49ers. And if you just promise him, hey, we're going to unretire Trent Dilfer's number 12 for you, you can play for the 49ers. I don't think that conversation's as difficult as you think it's going to be, because Tom Brady has wanted to play for the 49ers. Did you know Tom Brady was at the catch? Did you know that Kyle Juszczyk went to Harvard? All those things. Did you know those things, Jason? Like, we didn't know. To me, what you can get with a 4th-round pick with the chance of talking Tom Brady out of a Super Bowl and keeping the Super Bowl window open another year, because not saying Trey Lance doesn't have a window, we just don't know how open that window is right now. That's all. We still don't know what Trey Lance is. If you can get 1 year out of Tom Brady, you're a Super Bowl contender, because Tom Brady, yes, he is 97 years old. He's at the point where we're making Frank Gore jokes about him, right?
Wait a minute, but you're talking about a guy who threw for the most touchdowns in the league and got MVP votes.
Yeah.
So you're not just doing this for nostalgia. And this is the thing, Andrew. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
this
you're
is
absolutely
the one,
right. I was going to make the point. Yeah.
This is the one quarterback that I would even consider sitting Trey for 1 year.
Yes.
This is it.
There's two names.
It's not Rodgers either. He's not coming.
Exactly. There's two names. None of them are happening. It's Rodgers and Brady. If the Buccaneers call tomorrow and say, listen, we want Garoppolo and we want to pick, we think Brady will come out of retirement for you, I think the Niners should say yes and get 1 year of Brady, because you're a Super Bowl team. Because let's be 1,000% honest. We're not talking, if the Niners sign Tom Brady 2 years ago when he's a free agent, we're not talking about this right now. We're previewing a Super Bowl. And not only are we previewing a Super Bowl, Jason, we're previewing a Super Bowl where the Niners have a chance to win back-to-back Super Bowls, right? Like let's just be 100% honest. And so if you can do it, absolutely. I think the chance to talk Tom Brady out of retirement for Jimmy Garoppolo and a 4th-round pick is worth it. Is it going to happen? Absolutely not. I just wasted a whole 5 minutes of people's lives on something that's not going to happen, but I think would be a very intriguing thing, and I think would make the Niners better. There's only 2 quarterbacks I would be okay with saying Trey Lance is not the starter. Well, technically 3, one for the memes, because Jameis Winston, I'm just going to ride and die with him, but that's not a real one, so please don't quote me on it. It's Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and neither of those are going to happen, and that's okay. But in terms of the people who are up in arms, like, no, this is Trey's time. If the Brady thing is on the table and you can tell me that Brady's not retiring, I'm for it. I'm 100% for it. But with all that being said, it's not going to happen, and that's okay.
I'm just more frustrated with the scenario he laid out and then how it got legs. And people were just like, oh, you heard what Zolak said? Nobody gives a shit, especially about what he has to say, man. Like, truly, man. Like, truly. Boston media is the worst. I promise you. There is no pack I like smoking more than Boston pack. And I will smoke their media's boots because they're terrible. They are terrible at everything that they do. So the scenario that he lays out is the 49ers should just trade Jimmy Garoppolo to the Tampa Bay Bucks and then see if the guy comes out. And that's ridiculous. You either have to know that he's coming out, because why would you do that?
And part of it, I'm going to say something that's very controversial for our fan base. Part of it's 49ers Twitter's fault.
Yes.
Because, listen, man, Jason, you and I could have, it's kind of like it's like the Joe Montana thing, right? You and I, we could have a whole 45-minute episode about the logistics of acquiring Aaron Rodgers, right? We could have a whole podcast where we discuss Aaron Rodgers, Niners getting Aaron Rodgers. But it doesn't mean it's going to happen. It doesn't mean it's something on the table. When he said that, it was never meant to be a like, this is something I'm hearing. It's a conversation piece. It's just something to talk about.
But 49ers Twitter.
And even I sent it to the group chat. Like, I sent that tweet to the group chat and I said, hey man, like, this is interesting. Like, I hadn't thought about this. This is a really fun conversation point. But you see it kind of being spun into like, it's almost like we've talked it into being a real like rumor when it's not. It was one guy saying something he thinks could be interesting, and we picked it up and ran with it as if this is going to be a real thing. Yeah. And it's not. It's not. Do I think the Niners are talking about trading Jimmy Garoppolo to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Absolutely. Any team with a quarterback position needs to, with a quarterback opening, 32 teams have a quarterback position, Jason. I don't know if you know that. Any team with a quarterback opening, big if true, I know. Any team with an opening, the Niners need to be talking about what assets can we get from that team. And sure, I'm sure somebody said, well, do you think they'll throw in Brady's contract? Maybe, but it's not realistic. It's not something that's going to happen. If it happens, I would be absolutely shocked. But part of it is on 49ers Twitter for running with it as if it's a real thing. it's a real conversation piece because it's not, or it's a real thing. It's a conversation. It's a very fun conversation to have. I could have a whole conversation about hypotheticals. I love hypotheticals because I think a lot of what's fun about sports is those what if questions, whether it's in past or future. I think it's a fun conversation to have.
And a lot of sports is just what if anyway.
Yes, but I think we need to keep it within that realm. Don't rip Scott Zolak for having this opinion and thought. Rip Scott Zolak for other things, right? Because obviously his Cam Newton takes have been wild. And obviously you can rip him if he's trying to pass this off. Because, like, you know what a lot of people do? They have their opinions, but they skirt it in a word where they'll say, like, I've heard from certain things, kind of like Joe Montana, you know?
I've spoke to players.
I've heard these things, and they say their opinion, try to make it sound like there's legs to it. Zolak didn't do that. He just kind of threw it out.
Yeah.
And so, like, hey, man, that's our jobs. That's we're podcasters. We got to create these conversations.
Yeah. So look, to put a bow on it, it's just a scenario. Again, I poked holes through all of the logic and the ways that it won't happen because you are asking Bruce Arians to literally change everything that he wants to do. That's not going to happen. Get it out of your head. I would be shocked. I would be absolutely shocked if Jimmy Garoppolo ends up on the Tampa Bay Bucks. I really would. I really would. And that would just mean that Bruce Arians lent his offense to Tom Brady. Like, but they didn't change. Tom Brady still takes shots down the field.
Oh, yes.
He's not like they move towards him, but you have to change your entire offense for Jimmy Garoppolo. And that is where I have the problem with it. And I do not see Bruce Arians doing that again.
No.
Jameis threw for 5 bands, 30 and 30. And I guarantee you Bruce Arians would take that 10 out of 10 times over Jimmy Garoppolo right now. Guaranteed you, 100%.
Please put some respect on Jameis Winston's name. The first ever 30-30 season. Thank you.
5 bands.
5 bands too. 5 bands too. Although here's something. Last thing I'll say about it because I think it'd be hilarious. Could you imagine if the Niners trade Jimmy Garoppolo to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and he wins a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay and Patriot fans have to see Tom Brady go to Tampa Bay, win a Super Bowl, and then the dude who was supposed to replace Tom Brady in New England win a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay? I think that'd be funny. As a Niner fan, it'd be very painful. But just in terms of New England fans, it'd be pretty damn funny.
I think that you need to turn Madden off, and we should move to because in the realm of possibilities, that is on the lowest level of realms. It really is.
Yes, and I guess we'll end the conversation like this. Your Week 1 2022 starter is going to be Trey Lance. That's going to be the opinion of the Sprint Right Option podcast until we're told otherwise. And
talk to him.
And as I said, there is only 2 names that the Niners could get that the Sprint Right Option podcast would change their opinion, and that's Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and neither of them are going to happen unless the Buccaneers cut Brady from his contract and the Niners can get him on a very team-friendly deal, which I think if the Buccaneers cut Brady from his contract, I think the Niners would have a chance to get him on a very team-friendly deal because what does Tom Brady have to prove? He wants to play for the Niners. But that conversation is for another day, and it may never happen because it probably won't happen. We're not going to have that hypothetical conversation unless the Buccaneers cut Tom Brady, and I don't think they will. Jason, do we want to get more angry about?
Oh yeah, let's get real angry.
Certain things that happened last night.
Seasonal
and I want to come out and say this. I don't necessarily disagree with any of the final results. Let's say that.
I do.
I to an extent I disagree with some of them, but we'll see where we disagree. The NFL awards was last night. A lot of great players, a lot of great coaches won some great awards. And if you go through the vote totals, you'll see one SF. And there was a couple of SFs you could throw out there. But the one SF we saw was DeMeco Ryans getting 1 vote for the assistant coach of the year, which fantastic. Deserves it. Probably deserved more. Let's be 1,000%, but that's okay. Where this podcast gets a little grumpy wumpy is you look at the NFL comeback player of the year and there's no Nicholas Bosa.
Disgusting.
0 votes. And the one that gets this podcast kind of grumpy and then really grumpy because we've been pushing for one MVP vote for Deebo Samuel. We always thought it wasn't necessarily possible, but in the realm of possibilities. The one that really perplexes me, Jason Aponte. Deebo Samuel got 0 votes for Offensive Player of the Year. And that's where I want to start this conversation. That is asinine. As Larry the Cable Guy once said, I give her face a 10 and her asinine. That's a good Larry the Cable Guy joke.
I love it.
But Deebo Samuel, 0 Offensive Player of the Year votes. Jason, I'll let you go.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Like, first of all, the Offensive Player of the Year was Jonathan Taylor and not Cooper Kupp. Okay? Here's why.
Oh, sorry. I know what you're saying.
Here's why.
You're saying.
Here's why. Imagine taking Jonathan Taylor off of that Colts team.
Mm-hmm.
Where would that offense come from? Carson Wentz? Jesus, man. Look, Cooper Kupp had an amazing year. Triple Crown winner. He literally played with one of the best quarterbacks that has been in this league. Oh, wait. Stat Padford.
Stat Padford.
In my opinion, right?
Yes, Stat Padford.
Dude, do you not understand? Deebo Samuel carried his team. Cooper Kupp didn't carry his team. Cooper Kupp didn't carry his team. He was part of the engine that ran it. Deebo Samuel is the engine. The absolute engine of this team. He literally, in multiple games, every time you needed a big play, it wasn't, like Cooper Kupp doesn't have moments where he made plays to save the season. No, because the 49ers season was on the brink many times. Many, many times. And every time they needed a play, Chicago, Rams, Week 18, Packers, Dallas, Rams in the NFC Championship game. It was Deebo Samuel. That's why he was so defeated in the NFC Championship game. When you watched him, it's ridiculous, man. I don't know what to say at this point. I really don't. I'm trying to be cool, trying to be rational. First of all, the Offensive Player of the Year, that was botched. It's Jonathan Taylor. It's Jonathan Taylor. Okay? Because if you look at what he did for his team, Cooper Kupp doesn't have that same impact. He just doesn't. That Colts offense would have 0 points per game without Jonathan Taylor. I really don't get it. I don't get it, man. But the Deebo Samuel disrespect is disgusting. Let's get to the Bosa thing. First of all, shout out to Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But I thought they were going to give it to Dak. I mean, torn ACL is one thing. Dak's ankle was on the other side of his shin. And he played incredible.
I mean, the last way to put it, but it's so true.
But the lasting memory of Dak last season was him getting carted off and his ankle being in that disgusting fashion. And he played so well. Whatever. Burrow, Dak, that's cool. Whatever you pick. I thought Dak would get it. Burrow got it. I'm not mad at that. Nick Bosa had 15 and a half sacks and he just tore his ACL. Not one vote? Not one? I mean, like, Bosa even went on his IG stories and, like, put the laughing emoji. He saw it. Good.
Yeah.
You know what I want you know what I want both these young gentlemen to do? Take that and run with it and use it and be Michael Jordan. And I took that personally. I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. What do the 49ers have to do to gain respect? 3-5, literally out of like the basement, make it to within minutes of being in the game that they probably would win if they were in it. Sorry. Yes, I'm bitter. And yes, I'm still sick. And neither of these guys get votes. I don't understand it. I don't understand the thought process. And it goes to show that these people that are have these awards in their hands don't watch everybody. They don't watch everybody. It's impossible, right? Like, you don't watch everybody, because if you would have watched everybody and you would have watched the 49ers, you would have known. You would have known. 15 and a half sacks. And that young man, Nick Bosa, is still not all the way back. 15 and a half.
Which is scary.
Yeah, that is scary. That is scary.
Scary.
Deebo Samuel carried this team on his back. Every single time this team needed a play, it was him. That's why we wanted him to get one MVP vote. Just one. Because he is the most valuable player in this team. He is. And it's sad. It really is. I feel for those guys. And no matter how they want to spin it, those guys want to say, hey, it is what it is. That's fine. Good. You're saying all the right things. But don't tell me that those guys don't feel that. Don't tell me that those guys didn't see that and aren't going to use that as motivation. It's disgusting, man. It really just is disgusting.
Yeah, and like to me, man, Joe Burrow had a fantastic like the CPOI. It's not even necessarily that Burrow didn't deserve it or whatever maybe, because he's the same thing as Nick Bosa. They both tore their ACL. They both had insane years. So how does Joe Burrow get 28 of the? Is it because he's Joe Burrow and he has all these fun nicknames and all that? Is it because he's a fun player? Is it because he's more media friendly than Nick Bosa? Like, what is it? What's the big difference between Nick Bosa and Joe Burrow? Because we're talking about two young players, both coming off of torn ACLs, both having amazing seasons. So why does Burrow get 28 votes? Is it because he plays quarterback? That's okay. If we come out and say it's because he plays quarterback, that's okay. It's a reason. Prescott should have gotten more votes in my mind. Looking at this ballot, I think Derwin James got a little disrespected. Only one vote. Just because, like, and I get he didn't have the best year. He had a decent year. He didn't have a year like Joe Burrow or Dak Prescott. But, like, this is the first time he played a full season since 2018, man. 4 years. And he played 5 in 2019. So he played some games. First full season since 2018. And he came back and played at a pretty good level. So, like, why is he only getting one vote? Because to me, if we're looking at the definition of comeback player, to come back and play 15 games with 2 interceptions and make the Pro Bowl, and I know the Pro Bowl is not like anything amazing. I get that.
Don't say that. That's going to help my argument for later on for something else.
Oh, okay. Well, the Pro Bowl is amazing, and really only the best of the best go.
The Pro Bowl is the exact barometer of how you should be evaluating players. But this is a good point right here.
I don't think it does. MVP, regular season award, comeback player of the year, include the play. I don't think it does. I think all these votes are turned in after the season.
No, they are, but it feels like the Burrow getting it is having to do with where he is. Like you can't you're absolutely right, Andrew, but he's right also in the fact that it feels like they didn't turn it in and they were like, oh, look, they're in the Super Bowl. How could you not give it to him? Right. Like, and that's the part that's weird because Burrow did what he did this year. And I'm not taking anything away from him. He's definitely amazing at what he did this year. And look at how far the Bengals have gone. But it was Dak. It was Dak, man. It was Dak. When you see that lasting memory of him being like carted off, I thought for sure it was going to be Dak. I never thought Bosa had a shot, but to get 0, that's wild.
Just based off of a very loose Google, they are turned in after the regular season. So playoffs has nothing to do.
Yeah, no, they are, but it's just it feels like that. That's what BNA is talking about. Is that it feels like it's revisionist because of where the Bengals are right now, and it's not hard to be steered in that direction because of like Dak was lighting the world on fire for like he was being talked about as an MVP for a little while, like. All that stuff is they had a little low, but they still ended up where they ended up. And that's the part that's strange to me because I thought I had Dak pegged the correct way. It's just you can see how people would feel like this is a little bit skewed now because of where the Bengals are.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I don't know how you differentiate Nick Bosa and Joe Burrow's situation, both torn ACLs, all that.
Torn ACLs.
The one I'm really angry about, though, like spicy Aponte angry, is the Debo one, man. Yeah. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to me how, like the MVP one, I get that was always a pipe dream. That's why we push so hard on it. Is maybe he'll get one. And it'll be great. This podcast would pop champagne for it. How the hell is he not sure, maybe not winning offensive player of the year. That's okay. Whatever. How the hell does he not even get a vote? And I'm going to throw out a bunch of false equivalencies. I think that's how I'm saying
Equivalencies.
Equivalencies. I have a hard time with 4-syllable words. Give me a break. I only need to learn the 1 3-syllable word. Pasquini. That's my last name. But so I looked at it, and I looked at Deebo Samuel's season, And he finished with 1,405 receiving yards and 365 rushing yards. And for a wide receiver, that's pretty amazing, right?
And it's the first guy to do that.
So that's part of my spiel I'm going to make here. Part of my false equivalencies. There we go. That was better. You see that? Learning, adjusting, getting stronger as the podcast goes on.
Oh, wait. Reps work for you?
Reps works. Reps not reps. Reps not reps. So I decided, Jason, my dumb brain. This is where my brain went. I went to the beautiful StatHead, Pro Football Reference. We use StatHead, right? We like to make charts. And I punched in running backs who had 1,405 rushing yards and 365 receiving yards. A very good season for a running back, right? That's a very good season. 52 times that has happened in NFL history. 52 times a running back has had at least 1,405 rushing yards and 365 receiving yards. And I just clicked on a few of these random ones. In 1974, and this argument doesn't work, I get it, Otis Armstrong had 1,407 rushing yards and 400 receiving yards. Kind of the closest thing to what Debo did, just flipped. In 1974, Otis Armstrong finished second in Offensive Player of the Year. And you might be saying, it's different, Andrew. That's the 70s. It's different. So I looked at LaDainian Tomlinson. LaDainian Tomlinson I lost the year. 2006 had 1,815 rushing yards and 508 receiving yards. Very good year, all-time year. He won Offensive Player of the Year. O.J. Simpson, we don't talk about him. We don't like to talk about him in a football sense. He won Offensive Player of the Year. Priest Holmes, he did it. Running backs, when they do the double thing, it tends to lead to Offensive Player of the Year votes, acknowledgments. Even though you take Debo Samuel's yardage in receiving and make it rushing for a running back and all that, it has happened 52 times. We've seen it. Christian McCaffrey wakes up and has an 1,000 year if he could stay healthy. So I did the same thing with Debo Samuel. I punched in how many wide receivers had 1,405 receiving yards and 365 rushing yards. And the machine popped up the answer, Jason Aponte. And there's only one name on the list. Only one name on the list. And that's Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel had a season we literally never seen. Never seen. And I get it. I'm not trying to take away from Cooper Kupp. I'm not trying to take away from Jonathan Taylor. Cooper Kupp needed 17 games to finish 17 yards behind Calvin Johnson, most receiving yards in NFL history. Fantastic season. He needed 17 games to fall short. I'm not taking it away. He had 16 touchdowns. All 16 of those touchdowns were through the air. Debo Samuel had 14 touchdowns, and more of them were on the ground than through the air. And you're telling me Debo Samuel had 0 Offensive Player of the Year votes. He literally was the Niners' offense. It's insane to me. I don't care if he won Offensive Player of the Year. I don't think he was going to. It's insane to me he did not get one vote. And we look at the MVP vote, right? We look at the MVP vote. 3 players got an MVP vote. 39 to Aaron Rodgers, 10 to Tom Brady, 1 to Cooper Kupp. I don't care about the Cooper Kupp. MVP is the quarterback award. I don't care.
That one vote was for Debo Samuel, not Cooper Kupp. Jesus.
And that's okay. I like it's fine. I don't care about who won third place in MVP. I wanted the Debo vote, but whatever. I don't know how you can vote, because if there's 39 votes and 10 votes for Brady, and Brady and Rodgers had 3 and 2, I don't know how you can vote for like that means there has to be people who voted for Rodgers for MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. And to me, man, I get it. Like, you're the best quarterback, you're an offensive player, but make Offensive Player the non-quarterback thing, because MVP is the quarterback thing. And I just have a hard time believing that Debo Samuel did not earn a single Offensive Player of the Year vote, because he had a season we've never seen. And not to scare Niner fans saying Debo Samuel is going to regress or anything, because I don't think he is.
It's impossible to do what he did again.
He might. I'm not going to say it's impossible, because he did it, and he might be able to do it again next year, but it's not likely. He might have an 1,800 receiving yard or 1,400 receiving yard season and a 250 rushing yard season. And that might be something we've never seen before as well. but it's still not as good as this year. So I just don't understand how Cooper Kupp did something that like, yes, it's the second greatest receiving season in NFL history by yardage, but we've seen it before. We've seen receivers have insane years. We've literally never seen what Deebo Samuel has done. And that's where I'll end this point. I yelled a little bit. We got a little feisty. We got a little grumpy, but that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, we're passionate about this and we love this. I don't understand it, and I don't think I will, and I don't even have the time to talk about how D'Amico Ryans deserved more votes. And I mean, it is what it is. Like these awards, it is what it is. Did I think Deebo Samuel was going to win Offensive Player of the Year or MVP, or did I think Nick Bosa was going to win Comeback Player of the Year? No, but I think you show yourself a little bit when you don't include Deebo Samuel on your Offensive Player of the Year ballot. I think you show something a little bit when you don't include Nick Bosa on your Comeback Player of the Year.
Call them casuals
Ballot. That I don't want to use that. It's the same reason why when Andrew Luck was dominating at Stanford, and when Christian McCaffrey was dominating at Stanford, and Toby Gerhart was dominating at Stanford, but never would win a Heisman Trophy. It's the same thing, because a lot of these voters are based on closer to Jason's side of the country, and they don't necessarily pay attention to the West Coast side of things. And that's okay. Maybe we need more West Coast voters. I don't know the breakdowns exactly of who has the votes. I don't know.
It's definitely East Coast bias.
There's definitely more East Coast. Like everything, like if you look at NFL Network, where's that based, right?
It's in LA.
Actually, and NFL Network's in LA, so I'm wrong on that. But like ESPN, right? ESPN's based in Connecticut.
All right. So like game day morning is in LA, right outside of SoFi. That's what the NFL building is. But it is an East Coast bias, man. Yeah. It is, and that's why people complain. That's why people complain about baseball and like Yankees players getting more love and guys over there like getting more love. It's absolutely true. But I don't have anything more to add. I think Andrew laid it out. I think that when you talk about years and you say that one receiver's had a year that nobody's ever seen, and there were running backs that have been happening year after year, and they get votes, I think that is the perfect point. I think Andrew nailed it. I have nothing more to add here at all. None.
Well, then, before we get to the last conversation,
let's get more mad.
What are we getting mad about? I thought this was.
What are we getting mad about?
What's the other conversation?
Okay, I'm going to kick it off.
Well, before we kick this conversation off, let me plug some things. If you were new to Jason Aponte YouTube channel, please subscribe. If you've been here, haven't done it yet, please subscribe. Notifications on, all that fun stuff. A lot of great Jason Aponte content. My favorite personal favorite content is Jason Aponte. My personal favorite Jason Aponte content isn't on YouTube, if you catch my drift, but it's great on YouTube. And if you have not subscribed and have every episode downloaded of the Sprint Right Option podcast on Spotify, and YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, now's a great time to do it, because we might have some exciting news coming up. We'll see you. Tease. Jason, I think I know what you're going to yell about. Is it about a linebacker who played for the 49ers? Okay, I want to start with the positive then. I want to start with the good one about who did get in.
No. We'll save that. Let's end with the positive.
We'll close with that.
Let's end with the positive, because I have plenty of good things I want to say about that.
Okay, then we'll get to that. Listen, man.
Let's keep being mad.
I just want to say that, God, I didn't plan for this to be an angry episode.
No, I love it. And everybody else does it. Like, we have about 125 people in here right now. Like, everybody else likes it. Let's keep going.
We're going to end with a positive. There's a payoff to this grumpiness.
Let's end with the positive, but let's keep being mad.
Let me say a sentence, and I'll let you kick it off, because I think you got more to say about this.
Oh, I've got it all lined up right here in front of me. I'm gonna spaz real quick.
If Leroy Butler's a Hall of Famer, get Patrick Willis in the Hall of Fame right now. Go ahead, Jason Aponte.
Okay. This is no disrespect in any way to Sam Mills, who made the Pro Bowl. Who made the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Okay. Sam Mills made the Hall of Fame.
Okay. He might have made the Hall. He might have made the Pro Bowl this year too. Who knows? Who knows?
He did.
How many people skip out every year?
He did. I want to go through some stats, and I want to correlate it to other players and the way that you view them and why this is so wrong. Okay. Sam Mills, first of all, Neptune, New Jersey native. Shout out to you. That's Southern New Jersey, closer to Philly. Didn't know that. Did some research, found that out. Okay. 5-time Pro
Geography podcast, we are.
Right. 5-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, never led the league in tackles. Never once led the league in tackles. Okay. 181 games, 20 and a half sacks, 1,142 tackles, 22 forced fumbles. That's a prestigious career. And he played for a very long time, which is something that you need to keep in perspective. Okay? Patrick Willis. First 7 years in the league. Only player ever. Pro Bowl. 7 years. 5-time All-Pro. Not one, not two, 5.
Booker T,
okay?
5-time.
Rookie of the year. Okay? Listen to these stats. 112 games. That is literally almost 60, 70 games less than him, than Sam Mills. 20 and a half sacks, the same amount of sacks. 733 tackles, which is almost 400 less. That's fine. 60 games, right? 22 forced fumbles for Sam Mills, 16 for Patrick Willis. Led the league in tackles twice, including his rookie year. I don't understand it. And the way I'm going to equate it is this, and 49er fans are not going to like this. Frank Gore deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and he will one day. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 100%. No questions asked. Frank Gore has better numbers than Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders' career was shorter. Who's the better running back? Stop coming to me about years in the league. Who was more dominant? Barry Sanders is a better running back than Frank Gore. Sorry, guys. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. Patrick Willis is far and away better than Sam Mills. And I never will understand this. The fact that Patrick Willis has to wait one more year, and Sam Mills gets in because he played longer, because he was able to stay in the league longer, and Patrick walked away earlier, is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. 20 and a half sacks in 60 less games. I don't get it. Please, someone who is smarter than I am, because there are people that are out there, not many. Explain it. Explain it to me. I don't want to hear about length of career. I want to know about dominance. There are people that compiled stats and they played longer, but they were never dominant. Patrick Willis was the cream of the crop every single year he was in the league. The one year he got injured, he decided to walk away. And I think it was because he saw where the 49ers were going. And I think he saw what path they were going down. And he said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. But it's disrespectful. Emmitt Smith has the most rushing yards ever. And he's not even the 5th best running back that's ever played this game. I don't even think that's close. This whole idea that Patrick Willis has to wait a whole other year and you let a stat compiler get in ahead of him is disgusting, man. And it only proves our point that you guys don't get it. You don't get it. Pro Bowls are not the way to evaluate people. But Patrick Willis is the only player to make it his first 7 years. The only, ever. Where is that? Why is that not part of it? I'm tired of it, bro. I am tired of it. This Patrick Willis disrespect will not stand. Sam Mills
will not stand.
No disrespect to Sam Mills. He deserves to be in.
Yes.
But over Patrick Willis is egregious and it's disgusting. Go, Andrew.
I'm going to compare another player, Jason, and I'm not going to mention Sam Mills because I'm going to compare him to another player who absolutely belongs in the Hall of Fame. Patrick Willis had 7 Pro Bowls. This player had 6 Pro Bowls. Patrick Willis, 5-time All-Pro. This player, 3-time All-Pro. Both were members of the Hall of Fame All 2010s team. Patrick Willis won Rookie of the Year. This player didn't. Patrick Willis played 8 seasons. 8 seasons. So did he need to make it to 9 to be a first ballot Hall of Famer like Calvin Johnson? Did he need, because Calvin Johnson played 9 years in his career.
And because he was the most dominant.
Is there some qualification that like you have to play 9 seasons and not 8 to make the Hall of Fame? Like we're talking about 2 players that were, and Megatron had more dominance, but I think that's because we notice receivers more than linebackers, right? That's how we watch football. We watch the offense, not the defense. The only people who watch, defense tight like that are nerds who brag about Vic Fangio and like Rich Madrid, right? Like those are the people who love defense, right?
Rich, I didn't say that. He said
I just wanted to yell at Rich.
No, Rich, he said it. I didn't say it.
I'm very excited to go to a Mariners Angels game with Rich Madrid. But like maybe that's what it is Calvin Johnson, he's an offensive player. We talk about them more naturally. I just don't understand how you look at just the resumes and decide that Calvin Johnson is worth a first ballot Hall of Fame bid, I guess would be the right word. And Patrick Willis isn't. It's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like saying David Ortiz is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but Barry Bonds isn't, even though they both took steroids. We're saying the quiet part loud. You knew if we were gonna have a Hall of Fame conversation, I had to say Barry Bonds.
Yeah, but you can't handshake emoji, the NFL Hall of Fame and the MLB Hall of Fame getting it wrong.
But yeah, so like listen, man, like no disrespect to Sam Mills, no disrespect to Calvin
Johnson. He belongs in there.
Absolutely
I hate that it had to be him that I had to compare this to.
Yes. Well, because it's the easiest direct comparison. But to me, Patrick Willis is a Hall of Famer. To me, Calvin Johnson is a Hall of Famer. To me, Sam Mills is a Hall of Famer. To me, Roger Craig is a Hall of Famer. But hey, they're not there. But you know who is a Hall of Famer?
Who's that?
Bryant Young. He did it. He got in. And guys, like I'm going to be 1,000% honest, and I'm going to share my quick little Bryant Young stuff. I'm 29. Jason, you don't need to say your age. It's okay. They know 37. You're 29. 29 too.
37.
So I don't know what peak Bryant Young is.
I do.
Because 2002 was his last Pro Bowl year. I was 10. I barely have the attention span to watch a 3-hour football game now. Like, what do you think I was when I was 10, right? But I do when I started knowing what I was watching in football later years. 2007 was his last year. Bryant Young was that guy we always talked about how much players respected him. And the thing I know about Bryant Young, because they said it every time, was he was the last player from the Super Bowl champion teams. And all I'm going to say about Bryant Young, because I can't speak for his on-field impact because I don't remember it. Bryant Young has something that just going through my mind of all-time Niner players don't. Frank Gore doesn't have this. I don't know why Frank Gore's the first one I picked, but I'm just going backwards. Frank Gore doesn't have this. Joe Montana doesn't have this. Jerry Rice doesn't have this. Roger Craig, Ronnie Lott. Literally any Niner who's the Niner you could think of, like any name that you think of as the first Niner to pop into your head doesn't have this. Bryant Young played 14 seasons, and all 14 were with the San Francisco 49ers. Joe Montana doesn't have that. Steve Young doesn't have that. Frank Gore doesn't have that. He is a true San Francisco 49er in my head. And yes, he is not a guy I really remember seeing. But in my head, he pops up as an all-time Niner just because he was there for, I believe Seifert was the head coach. Bill Walsh is where, after Bill Walsh, I get fuzzy until Erickson.
Seifert.
He had Seifert. He had Mariucci. He had Erickson. He had Mike Nolan. He had, I believe, Singletary. No, he didn't quite get Singletary. No. He was there for the Super Bowl, but then he stayed for all the garbage after. And so, like, to me, man, all-time Niner, absolutely deserved. Huge shout out, Bryant Young. And Jason, I'll let you talk about the on-field impact now.
Yeah, Brian's absolutely right. I've never seen a baseball hit further in Old Yankee Stadium than Barry Bonds. Make sure you put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame's a joke for the Major League Baseball. Who cares? David Ortiz is in. Who cares? We smoking that Boston pack. He don't deserve to be in there. All right. Anyway, Bryant Young, I remember fondly. I am old enough to remember. I really am. Let me just run down some things, okay? 1994 was his rookie year. The 49ers win that Super Bowl that year. That's the last time that I've ever seen a 49er team win the Super Bowl. 3 games, he had a sack, 7 tackles, Super Bowl in his playoff run, okay? I want to run down some of his stats. 208 games, 89.5 sacks, 519 solo tackles, 12 forced fumbles. I want to go down some more accolades. 4-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro once, Hall of Fame 1990s team, second team, and he was the 1999 AP Comeback Player of the Year. I want to start there. I remember as a child, because, you're still a teenager, 1998, playing the New York Giants, Monday Night Football, one of the grossest injuries I've ever seen in my life, ever. Compound fracture on national television. Something I could not watch. They
Bryant
literally,
Young?
yes.
I didn't know that.
See, they literally showed the replay over and over. And I remember like looking away, me and my dad watching the game, looking away and saying, okay, that's a career ender. Career ender. He played with an 18-inch rod in his leg. Let me run down his 1999 stats. 11 sacks, 41 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, and a safety. And this is the first year that Pro Football Reference actually tracked the tackle for loss stat, 1999. 19 from defensive tackle? From defensive tackle? Okay. 1996 is another year that I want to highlight. 11 and a half sacks, 76 tackles, 2 safeties. The man was absolutely dominant. Forever 49er, someone that I will forever remember. I am so happy for Bryant Young. And these youngsters, you may think you know, but you don't get it. You definitely don't get it. And I'm going to pull the old man card here. But for him to have that devastating injury that we all thought was, man, this is it. Like his season, his career's over. And he came back the next year. 11 sacks, 41 tackles, 19 tackles for loss. Incredible. Incredible. Shout out to Bryant Young. Congratulations, buddy. That's something that I will always remember because I remember it happened against the bum-ass Giants while I live on the East Coast, happened against the bum-ass Giants, and I had to watch them destroy another person's career, so I thought. And Bryant Young continued his career and continued to play after that with an 18-inch rod in his leg. Absolute monster. Shout out to Bryant Young. I wanted to finish on a positive. Here's your positive. Patrick Willis is going to get in one day or we're going to burn Canton down. But Bryant Young being in, I'm so happy for him, man. Sarcasm. I really am. I remember all of those things. I remember that game as vividly as possible. Like, I don't have to be on the Bay Area. I don't have to be on the West Coast to understand his impact. I promise you I don't. Because I remember being down with him, 10 toes down over here on the East Coast, and I remember that game, and he still came back and dominated. Heart of a champion, heart of a warrior. Way to go, Bryant Young. I am so happy that you're in, and you deserve everything right now. Yeah, that's my little spiel on him. In 1996, by the way, in that playoff run, the 49ers were only fortunate to play 2 games, but he had 2 sacks and 7 tackles also. Dominant, clutch whenever you needed him, man. Shout out to Bryant Young. I'm so happy for him, man. And I am so proud that I was able to watch him get into the Hall of Fame because I remember all of it. And I'm just proud of him, man. I really am.
I'll just kind of give you an idea, too, because I didn't know about the rod. I didn't know about any of that stuff. Bryant Young's 1999 season, 11 sacks. It's a good season. Doing it with a metal rod in your leg makes it even more impressive. But up until that point in Niners history, they kept sacks. They started tracking sacks in 1960. He was only the 28th player in the 29 years to have an 11 sack season. And just keep in mind that he had a metal rod in his leg doing it. So, Jay Aguayo.
I love this from Jay Aguayo. Thank you for the donation, first of all. My son and I sent him a get well card, and he was gracious enough to send us back a thank you card. I mean, there it is.
There you go.
That's it. I mean, and that's amazing, man. That really is amazing. But yeah, I am so happy that he got in. A lot of people forget. And again, because you didn't see him play, you're just going to go ahead and look at stats and, compare this and that. But you can't tell the story without the injury. You cannot tell the story without that injury, man. That injury was gruesome. And that is something that, the more we talk about it, the more I see it in my mind, and I don't want to see it because I'm very squeamish. It was the worst thing I've ever seen on a football field. I really, it was so bad. Compound fractured, I was just like, oh my God. Even my dad said, oh, his career is done. No, his career is not done. He continued to play after that.
And that's back at the time where, injuries like that, like medicine has advanced pretty significantly in 20 years. And that's a time where it was like still not ideal, and things like that. So yeah, shout out Bryant Young. Are you feeling After Dark before I ask this last question or not?
Oh yeah, we with it. And what's up? It is on YouTube, and if you're squeamish, don't watch it.
So we're gonna do After Dark here just for a little bit. We're vibing,
Yeah,
we're having fun.
we vibing.
Jason, we are a football podcast. And I know we kind of jokingly did it on Monday. There is a football game on Sunday, pretty important. So let's talk about it real quick. And obviously, the football game on Sunday, I am talking about the Wolverhampton Wanderers haven't scored a goal in 2 games. They got the Tottenham Hotspurs. They have a chance to kind of jump up into the top 5 of the Premier League.
Paul, stop.
Do you think Wolves can score a goal despite not having Adama Traore?
Who cares, man?
No, obviously, Super Bowl 56, I believe. I forget the numbers. It's 56. Happening on Sunday. Let's get the official Sprint Right Option podcast prediction here. I know we skirted it with the orange and black versus blue and yellow. Who you got, Jason?
I got the Rams. They do too many things that the Bengals can't contend with, and this should make 49er fans as upset as I am. Joe Burrow's going to spend a lot of time on his back in this game, and the way that Rams front line went up against that 49ers offensive line, they're going to do the same thing against his Bengals offensive line, which is better. Which is worse. They beat a better offensive line, and they have too much on offense. They're going to attack them in the right spots. This is, y'all got to come up off those Stat Pafford things, man. It's you got to say sorry. You're gonna have to say sorry soon, like very soon. And I think this is the game now. You're gonna have to say sorry because he's doing exactly what people thought the Rams would do when they got a competent quarterback, and they got more than a competent quarterback in this one. I think the Rams win this one. And the Bengals will be back. The Bengals will be back.
Yeah, the Bengals absolutely will be back. But Sunday's not going to be when they arrive. So Sunday's not going to be when they arrive. That's a great
Crow. I'm Puerto Rican. It's baseball for us, but yeah, that's pretty funny, man. I think that's hilarious. So glad the Olympics are on, bro.
So good. Hey, man, curling has been intense. We can talk about that. No, man. Hey, here's something fun. We make fun of Stat Patford, and people do. I don't like to call him that nickname. But after Sunday, he's going to have the same amount of rings as Aaron Rodgers. So there's that. I think the Rams are going to win this game pretty easily. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I hate to say that, just because when the Niners aren't in, you hope for a good game. I don't think it's going to be good. I think the Rams are going to show out. So I'm going to go the Rams. But we'll say one positive thing about the Niners, so we don't have to talk about the Rams winning a Super Bowl to end it. The Niners are cool, and we loved it. And that's the positive thing I'll say.
I got a positive.
Go ahead.
I got a positive. There's going to be a football game played at a Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, and Mary J. Blige concert. Notice how I left somebody out, right? Don't care. Don't care.
Eminem? Is it Eminem the one you left out?
Don't care. You said it. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
Dude, as an edgy white high school kid when Eminem was at his peak, I'm kind of excited for Eminem, but I'm really bummed out when I hear "Not Afraid" as his first song. That's going to be a real bummer.
God.
But then again, Luis. Hey, we're definitely my goal for this offseason when we have nothing to talk about is make Jason watch a Premier League game, and we're going to talk about it.
Maybe. But Luis, with the donation, come on, Jason, a little bit of the other football will make your life complete. Great show. Appreciate you, man.
We appreciate the donation, Luis.
Yeah, and I guess we'll get into it in After Dark or whatever. But I've got opinions.
Let's get to After Dark. We got a fun week next week. I don't know if you guys remember, we were still kind of a small podcast last year. I'm gonna post the link. I'm gonna post a Google survey link. We're gonna do the second, we could say annual now. The second annual. I want to call them the Sroppies because it just sounds really like awkward and dirty. So I want to call them the Sroppies, the Sprint Right Option Podcast Award Show. I don't know what day we're going to have it yet. I'm going to send out a link soon. 100% your guys' votes. We're not going to have our opinions on it. Whatever you guys want to vote, that's what we're going to run with. That's going to what the award. We have categories, MVP, offensive player, or defensive player, all the fun stuff. I'm trying to think of a few fun ones that we can have to kind of lighten the mood. I did not expect this to be an hour 10 podcast. I'm actually really happy that it kind of flew by. Wrap it up. But next week, we'll have a date. I'm going to send out a link with the ballot. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners and get Patrick Willis in the Hall of Fame. We're gonna burn Canton down. I'm not playing with you.
Second time I'm saying he means that as a joke. Please do not yell at us.
I don't mean that as a joke. I mean it dead serious.
It's a joke. It's a joke. No, Jason Aponte, he's joking.
No, I'm not.
He's joking.
I'm not. Welcome everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Ride Option Podcast. My God, it's so hot. Oh, I'm sweating. I run hot naturally. This is the things we talk about on After Dark. We talk about how hot and sweaty we are. That was a fun episode. I just want to if you're new, haven't done an After Dark, we talk about really anything you want. We semi keep it Niners centric. But we just kind of vibe. We talk to you guys. We keep things open. We keep things loose. For those of you who are here for whatever reason, who only listen to audio and had never seen this, it's a little different. We have fun. We keep it light. We're live. We're recording, having fun.
All right, yeah. Let me explain my Eminem stance. As a gentleman who, my culture is hip hop culture.
Yes,
it is. Right.
And fun fact about Jason Aponte, before he gets too deep into this take, at the start, when we started Sprint Red Option Podcast, he also had a hip hop podcast going on. So he's an expert at this. He knows what he's talking about.
I miss it. I really do. And nobody wants to hear me talk about hip hop. They want to hear me talk about the 49ers, and that's what makes this so good, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. I am not disparaging Eminem as the lyricist, because you cannot disparage a man who can rap 800 words in 12 seconds.
Rap God.
What I will say is this. Many people have done it before, and nobody blinks an eye. Twista has done it year after year after year for 30 plus years, but y'all didn't care about it. You didn't care about that. You didn't care about that. You didn't care about when Busta did it. You don't care when other guys do it, right? Okay.
Tech Nine,
right? All these guys, they can rap.
I just wanted to yell Tech Nine.
But my point is that there is more to making hip hop music than being able to rap words. Lyrics are one portion of making the music. Okay. Now, if you are going strictly to the music for the lyrics, then this isn't for you. But for me, I need it all. I'm not going just for the lyrics. The beat has to be good. The song has to be good. The hook has to be good. That is one portion of it. But I don't need to hear a man ramble off mad words over and over and over. We get it, bro. You can rap. But that's not something you can listen to, right? And I will say this. I lived on the East Coast. I live on the East Coast. Nobody's riding around listening to Eminem. Nobody. Not one car ever. Do you ever hear is bumping Eminem? Never. Never, ever, ever. You know who listens to that? People in their house in the Midwest. They just want to hear raps and they just want to say, oh, well, Eminem said this and this and this. Look, this isn't a hot take, but people are going to say that this is a hot take. Kendrick Lamar's first album is better than any album that Eminem has ever produced in his entire life. And that's not a hot take. That is not a hot take. That is not a hot take, because it takes more than just rapping well for me to listen to you, okay? You can spit Rap God all you want. I can't listen to that because it's cool, dude. We get it, and I understand how hard it is to do that. Completely get it. Nobody rides around listening to Eminem. I have never gotten in anybody's car and they were like, yo, I'm about to play that new Eminem. Never once. Not one chance. Ever.
Then Jason Aponte, you weren't in Santa Rosa, California in 2010, my guy.
Look, listen, and I also want to preface this by saying, while I was in high school, we all loved Eminem.
Oh, like yeah.
When My Name Is came out and Slim Shady LP was out and Marshall Mathers LP was out, we all loved Eminem. That's when we listened to him. The music hasn't aged well. His subject matter at times bothers me so much. It bothers me so much. Dude, I don't want to hear about certain things. Like, none of that stuff is relevant. I don't want to hear about you sleeping with your relatives or like that stuff is weird.
I'm willing to bet that Kim isn't on the set list at Super Bowl Sunday. I'm willing to bet.
I've never listened to Marshall Mathers. I'm 37 years old, dog.
He is 37.
I bought it the first day. Look, hold up. What I felt about Marshall Mathers LP when I was a kid and what I feel about it now is two different things, man. Mm-hmm. That album is still not better than Good Kid, Mad City. There is no album in Eminem's category in his whole discography that's better than Good Kid, Mad City. And I want to get even hotter. Let's get hotter.
Okay.
Let's get hotter. Eminem's new music didn't get good until he started rapping again with Royce. And Royce.
Ooh, Bad Meets Evil's very fun.
And Royce has made better music lately than Eminem has. Royce's last 3-4 projects completely outweighs what Eminem has been doing lately. I don't get it, man. Look, again, I'm not downplaying him. He is one of the greatest lyricists of all time. That does not translate to good music. It just doesn't. It does not. I don't get that part. We'll talk 49ers, but I had to get that off my chest because in Twitter, you can't get the characters out. But please,
this would be a very long thread.
No, but please, man, don't try to act like I've never listened to Eminem. I'm telling you, man, hip-hop is my life. Outside of this, what I do is I go and I listen to hip-hop. That's what gets me throughout my day. And it has been for almost 40 years on this earth. So don't act like I'm not listening. I don't want to hear about you having sex with a goat. I don't want to hear about you having sex with your mom and stuff like that. That's weird. It's weird. It's not funny and it's not clever.
Yeah, man. And like, I loved Eminem. As you know, as a white teenager in the mid 2000s, I loved Eminem. It was definitely fun to hear the things he rapped about. To me, man, I absolutely agree with you. But to me, one of my favorite, I don't know, as a rap song, Stan is probably my favorite Eminem song. That's just all you need to know about me.
It's a great song.
It's a great song. But here's my thing with Eminem. A lot of what made him great was the shock value.
Right.
The things he said. And as I said, I jokingly said it, but like, we're not just going to talk about Kim, right? That's a song that he had. Where it's pretty much him, beating his wife for 5 minutes, however long the song was. The issue with all his great songs are 2000s area, right? He hasn't released anything good, save Bad Meets Evil. Since early 2000s, nothing has been good. Relapse was bad. Recovery wasn't good. What's Music to Be Murdered By wasn't good. And everybody wants to get excited about Eminem because he's with Kendrick, who's an all-time great, maybe Mount Rushmore. Kendrick might be at Mount Rushmore territory. Snoop Dogg, who, yes, like a lot of his great stuff was in the past, but his great stuff can be played in a 2022 context.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre, very problematic human being. But all his great stuff can be played in 2022 context. Eminem, you're going to get Not Afraid, which is just not a good song. You're going to get, what's the song with Rihanna?
I hate that song, Monster. That song sucks.
Monster. We're going to get that because there's no chance in hell. You might get a hint at Without Me. You might get the I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady.
Hold up. But they'll do Forgot About Dre. And that's literally like, that's
Forgot About
Dre's.
Eminem. Forgot About Dre's phenomenal. Yeah. But like, you're not going to get any of his great hits because it's 2022. You can't play his great hits anymore, and that's just. And I want
to address this because I don't want to spend too much time on here because nobody cares about what the hell I think about like the halftime show. So here's what's funny about Eminem Renegade, okay? Because that's a Jay-Z song.
What's right?
It's an Eminem and Royce song, okay? And they took Royce off, and Jay bought it and jumped on it. Now. Who's my king? Because I see it in here. Who's my king? It's Jay-Z, Brian. It is Jay-Z. Because there's lyrics, there's songs, and you can't stand on that stage with Jay-Z. Eminem doesn't have the catalog that HOF does. He just doesn't. I'm sorry. Jay-Z can play his off records on some of these classic albums, like Eminem doesn't have an album better than Reasonable Doubt. And that might be Jay-Z's second best album because The Blueprint is up there, right?
Yeah.
But Renegade was a record that was Eminem and Royce. Jay bought it. And here's what I'm going to say. And this is in defense of Eminem, actually. And I think this is a good point for him. Jay heard Eminem's verses because that song's out. Like anybody can YouTube Royce, Eminem, Renegade. You can YouTube that. That's for you to listen to. It's out there. I'm not making this up. Jay listened to that, wrote his verses, and Eminem still out-rapped him. So I'll give you that. I will absolutely give you that. I will absolutely 100% give you that. But my thing is, it's the music. It's everything. Lyrics are one part of how you make the music. I don't care how lyrical you are. If the beat sucks, I don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear it. At the same time, if the beat is dope and you're not saying shit, I don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. It's like I'm not taking shots just particularly at Eminem. It's just sometimes he loses sight of the entire creative process.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that bothers me.
Once he lost the shock value of it, that's when he kind of, and like let's be honest. If we had
ridiculous. Absolutely.
Christ, man, watch the tape.
Oh my goodness, watch the damn tape.
I have opinions and I don't watch the tape. Like if we had to power rank I'm gonna say 4 because I like hand up. I know nothing about Mary J. Blige. I probably do.
You do.
I probably do. I don't think I could tell you.
You don't know about holleration? You don't know about holleration and hateration?
No.
What? Oh my God, man.
Like yes, I'm a horrible rap fan. Like
this is also wrong. Now, if you really want to get it spicy, this is also wrong. But like, let's just keep it on one thing.
But you were born where Biggie was born. You know,
I was not born where Biggie was born. Biggie is born in Brooklyn.
Okay, but that's
an argument for a whole.
If we're going to talk about '90s rap culture, there was East Coast and there was West Coast. You were way closer to that side.
But Tupac is from the East Coast.
That's true too. Hey, Tupac went to Montgomery High School in Santa Rosa, which there's my claim to fame and knowledge.
That's fine.
But if we had to power rank the rappers, not including Mary J. Blige, because I don't know her enough to include her, to me, it'd probably be Kendrick, Snoop, Dre, and Eminem. Eminem's just there.
Yeah, I have total East Coast bias on 2 rappers that were from the East Coast. 100%.
Jason.
Like, you guys, all right, look, I don't want to be that guy, but do y'all do the history? Or are we just talking? Because y'all got to do the history. He's from Maryland. He's from Maryland. What you talking about? Just because he moved? Like, I could move to Cali.
Oh, it's Tupac from Maryland? Is that where he's born?
Yeah. I should just move to the West, right? And just be like, yo, I'm West Coast now, fam. You know, dubs up. No, man. Y'all don't get it, man. Like, he adopted the West. And that's y'all king. That's y'all king. Come on, man. Do the history.
I love this conversation right now so much because, like, Jason, like our friendship, like, let's be 1,000% honest. Our friendship is based on the 49ers, right? Like, this is how we started. And I knew your rap background, and it's something I've never discussed with you because, like, your rap knowledge is significantly better than mine, right? Man, I love watching you cook on this stuff. Like, this is really entertaining. I'm just listening to you, and it's because, like I get my rap.
With rap, all I do is speak facts. That's it. All I do is speak facts. Like, look, man, look. I am not taking away from Tupac. Tupac is your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. Mm-hmm. Hands down. Nobody's taking away. Like, but when we talk about music, discography, and impact, all of these things are different things. Now, it depends on what you're looking at, right? Because everybody looks up the Pac. Everybody.
You know who looked up the Pac? Biggie. Biggie legitimately looked up to Pac.
Yes.
And
Pac was out way earlier than him.
This whole Biggie Tupac rivalry, like, they were the center of the rivalry because they were the 2 unfortunate people that had to die because of it. But it was really, God, I'm really like, I know kind of some of this because I listen to podcasts. But it's really who it's Diddy and it's who's the one who the murderer one. Uncle Luke?
He was raised in Maryland. He moved to the West Coast. He was raised in Maryland. He adopted the West.
Who's the Death Row Records guy?
Suge Knight.
Suge Knight, that's who it is. And yeah, the Tupac Biggie rivalry is really blown out of proportion because they were friends and they were casualties to the Suge Knight Diddy thing. And it's unfortunate they had to suffer because of it. There we
The
go.
media-
Yes, the media made the rivalry.
100%.
Absolutely. It was
100%.
never a Biggie Tupac thing. And if y'all want to dive into it, because this is Spring Red Option Podcast After Dark, we're talking about rap. Last podcast on the left is a podcast. It's a true crime podcast I love, very dark humor. They do a 3-episode series on Biggie and Tupac. And they talk a lot about how, listen, man, like it's not Biggie and Tupac that was rivalry. That's what the media wanted you to think.
Right.
Biggie legitimately looked up to Tupac.
Pac was
and he was the one most devastated when Tupac was killed.
Right. So like Pac was setting that shit off and Biggie was like trying to chill. Like again, another thing that people don't understand, Who Shot You was a record that was out. I'm old enough to remember this. This is why I'm not bringing this up out of nowhere. Who Shot You was a record that was out way before anybody thought that was a Tupac diss record. It just happened to surface and the media turned that into, oh, it's a Tupac diss record. Who Shot You was on tapes for months before it ever came out. And he wasn't talking about Tupac getting shot at Quad Studios when he had beef. That's a Mobb Deep thing. That Mobb Deep thing with Tupac, that was way more bigger than Biggie. Biggie let everything slide. Everything slide. And I could talk all day about this, bro. All day about
Absolutely.
this. Trust me, y'all don't want to debate me on this because I lived it. Y'all don't want to debate this. I lived it. I'm not playing. Like football, I'm adopting. This is my culture. Like you don't get it.
Really, the Biggie Tupac thing just ended up just kind of wrap it. It was the wrong people got involved, because you got to remember, first things first. No matter what they say, no matter what diss tracks came out then or whatever, first and foremost, these people were artists, right? They were artists fronting as what they were rapping about. It's when the wrong people got involved is when the murder started happening and people getting shot started happening. So I don't think Biggie and Tupac obviously ever wanted it to get to the point it got to. Obviously, they were the ones who had to die because of it, but they were fantastic artists, and the wrong people got involved and things got carried away. And that's just what it is.
All right, look, let's end this here. Tio's right. What the hell happened in the show? Man. It's off season. Yeah,
we love it. Right. Hey, Tio, we appreciate you. Great question. It is after dark.
Hey, look,
this is us having fun.
I would start up my hip hop podcast again because, look, man, I'm a historian of football, but like I said, hip hop's my culture, man. It really is, man. It really is. Like I love this shit so much, but at the same time, that's not why y'all are here. Let's talk about some football. Like whatever you guys want to send in. Let's talk about like the future of this team.
First,
what you thinking? Like
I'll do this. First comment with a football related topic we will cover. The next one to pop up. The very next football topic.
As long as it's not crazy.
As long as it's relevant. Don't give us some random bullshit we don't care about.
Tio, I'd rather argue all about Tupac and Biggie than have people float the idea that Tom Brady is going to be the quarterback because Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be sent to a place where all of a sudden Bruce Arians is going to say, hey, it's cool, man. You don't have to throw the ball down the field at all. And I don't actually really care about that.
First football
I love
topic.
This. I love
Who's
this.
the backup for Lance?
I love this. I got 3 names.
3 names? Go ahead. You give me your 3 names.
3. Tyrod. Mitch.
Yes.
I want to excite you real quick.
Is it Jameis?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think those are the 3 names. I think I want to throw Mariota in. But
Mariota's in there.
I think Mariota and Jameis are in the same category, that those are top end names. But the only reason they're top end names is because there is 12 off the top of my head. I'm probably adding a couple. There's 12 potential quarterback openings right now. 12 teams that could use a quarterback. Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota are both names that absolutely, if they want, can be a starter. They're not going to be names that are going to be like, I'm probably going to have to take a backup spot. If they want a starter spot, they're going to be the names that reach out. That's where I think the Tyrod Taylors of the world come in. And I think
Anthony Lynn.
I think Tyrod Taylor's the leader in the house. Just because of the Anthony Lynn tie-in. Mitch Trubisky would be a fun one. I know a certain Falcons, Seahawks, Vikings fan that would love Mitch Trubisky on the Niners. But yeah, I think the 2 names would be Mitch Trubisky and Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor would be the leader in the house. But my pipe dream is nobody wants to take a chance on Jameis because of the torn ACL, and the Niners get him because I would buy a backup quarterback's jersey.
All right, Tio. Kyler Murray leaving the Cardinals. I say no.
No.
I mean, if you do that, then you got to fire Cliff.
Did you see, by the way, what the Cardinals Instagram
Oh yeah, they
page
did
today?
Their
That's
social media
hilarious.
Their social media team is better than their actual team.
Well, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury doesn't run it, so.
Oh, here we go. Justin, thank you, man, for the donation. Missed the last 20 minutes because my dad called, but the show is going great. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Justin, man. And we'll talk. I know you sent me some prospects. I'm sorry, man. I'm just trying to weed through it all real quick. Let's see. I have a funny feeling someone big from the team is going to get traded because of the cap. Thoughts? If it is, I'm hoping it's Armstead and we keep DJ and Key. Andrew, you go first.
I don't think it's going to be Armstead. I don't know who Keith Murray is. Who's Keith Murray?
I mean, I'm not going to be mad at you.
Who's Mike Jones?
I love this question from Emiliano. I'm going to get back to this one. I really am going to get back to this one. I promise you. But yeah.
Eric, I don't think Armstead's the guy out.
His cap hit's too big.
I want to preface this. I am yelling. I want to preface this. No big contracts not named Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get traded. None. I don't even want to say it because this is just my brain.
I think Averly's up.
Is Averly up? Did I yell too loud?
I did.
Oh, we'll talk quieter and hope she goes back to sleep.
No, she's asleep.
I don't think a big name is going to get traded, but I think the one that makes most sense is George Kittle. He's not going to get traded. He's not going to get traded. God, no. Like he's not going to get traded.
All right. So let's.
But let's
go ahead.
In terms of what you're paying for him for the position he plays, and this all changes with Trey Lance as the quarterback, because I think Trey Lance is going to do better in this offense than Jimmy Garoppolo. Nothing against Jimmy Garoppolo. But George Kittle has a very big cap hit for being a tight end. And to me, man, like Eric Armstead being kicked to the inside and he's a pass rusher, there's more value at that price, being a pass rusher. As I said, George Kittle's not going to get traded. George Kittle's not going to get traded. They're not going to trade him. But if we're talking about cap trades, which the Niners are not going to make, I really need to stress this, Jason, that this is not going to happen. In my mind, Kittle would make the most sense. It's not going to happen, though. Before we say Andrew Pasquini said he hopes George Kittle gets traded, I don't. George Kittle needs to be a Niner for life. Please come on the podcast. I want to talk wrestling with you, please. But go ahead.
Post June 1, that cap hit goes to $6 million.
How big is it now?
26.
Okay, see, I'm stupid, so ignore me.
No, you're right, though. It's just you can't move that. You can't move that right now. But post June 1.
It's not going to happen, Jason.
It won't happen, and nobody's advocating for that.
No, absolutely. This is not me saying I want George Kittle gone.
Right.
George Kittle's my favorite player in the NFL.
Those are
George
the facts.
Kittle is my favorite player in the NFL.
Those are the facts. Emiliano, do you think Kyler Murray is a better quarterback than Keith Murray? The most beautifulest thing in this world is just like that. I get in you. I would say I would take Kyler over Keith, but it's way closer. It's way closer than you believe it is. I love this question. Keith Murray, shout out to you, Def Squad. Again,
who's Keith Murray?
Stop playing with me about hip hop. Don't play with me. I'm not here just perpetuating whatever it is. Stop playing with me. I'm a historian. Keith Murray is a New Jersey rapper. Okay. New York rapper. I'm sorry. Part of the Def Squad with Redman from Newark, New Jersey. Shout out to him. Eric Sermon, also from EPMD fame. Again, Andrew, you're younger. You don't get it.
I don't know, man.
But the most beautifulest thing in this world is probably the first song that I would give you of Keith Murray so you could listen. And that is a song that came out in 1992, 3, something like that. It's
the
still
song I just 93. October 10th, 94. I was
94.
I was almost 2 years old.
It's still relatable to this day, and it's still great. And that is what timeless art is. And that's my argument against Eminem. Is just, man, some songs came out earlier than yours, and they're still relatable. I can't listen to Eminem now.
You know what a timeless song is oh baby you
Yeah, there you go.
What's it?
There you go.
Bismarcky. I love that song.
Bismarcky.
Holly World. Okay, so seriously, do you see the Niners restructuring Jimmy Garoppolo and keeping another year? I hope not. Trey Area 2022. Holly World, I love you. I love that you commented. I love your donation. Perfect. That's not going to happen. And if I were you, just start prepping yourself for Trey Lance. And I understand. I love Trey Lance. I like Trey Lance. I understand people's reserve. Yeah, I know. That's why I said I hate Joey. Like I said, I hate you, Joey. Don't do that because that's not what I
Cook
said.
his ass, Joey. Go to
Own
Twitter
me.
with it and let's start the narrative. I love it.
No, let's not do that. I
No.
have enough reason. People are blocking me, dude. Like, but Holly World, like, I understand your reserves.
Look at Biggie avatar.
We love it. I understand the reserves on Trey Lance because there are a lot of questions that I wish I could be that optimistic Niner fan that's like Trey Lance is going to fix everything because he's a modern NFL quarterback. I want to live in that world. But if we're talking about it realistically, he's very young. The one college thing, I don't like to talk about it, the one college year thing, but it is something that's relevant. I think it does say a lot about what the Niners feel about him right now that he did not play down the stretch with Garoppolo literally playing with one arm. Like him not even getting a look is semi-concerning. But you need to get to a point where Trey Lance is the starting quarterback, barring Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, just to get back to what we talked about in the podcast. Trey Lance is going to be the quarterback. I think he's going to be better for this offense. I do like his mobility. I think that's going to open things for this offense that we haven't seen. And if he's half of what we think he can be, the Niners are a Super Bowl team. I'm going to say it. If he can be half of what we think he can be, the Niners are a Super Bowl team. I don't think he's going to be that. I think it's going to take him a few years. And Aaron Rodgers, he did sit for 2 years. That's a fact. He did learn from Brett Favre, if you want to believe that. Jimmy Garoppolo is not Brett Favre. On the other side of it, Aaron Rodgers was the most NFL ready quarterback in that draft. Like, let's be real.
All right. So this is my thing. And you're absolutely right, Tio. And I'm gonna say this in the most debatable way. I'm not trying to, talk down on you, anything like that. I just feel like a lot of people use that example as the way that everybody should be evaluating quarterbacks, and I just don't think they correlate.
No.
In any way. Not everybody gets it the same way, right? Josh Allen played day one, and people were like, man, this guy's a bust. And look, it took him a little while, right? Alex Smith was like stuck with a bunch of people. Who knows what would have happened if he was like, wrapped around with a sane offensive mind and he had like 7 different coordinators. And it's just using that example and to say that, oh, well, Trey should just sit this long because Aaron Rodgers sat this long. If Trey Lance is 70% of what Aaron Rodgers was in this league, the 49ers hit the home run with the number 3 pick. Like, it's unfair, I feel like, in my opinion.
Can I ask an honest question to T.O.? Not just T.O. Who else was in here who said Rodgers sat? There's a couple people. Can I ask an honest to God question to the people who say Rodgers sat for 2 years, we need to sit Trey Lance? What do you project Jordan Love to be right now? What do you project him to be?
Nothing.
Or do you project him to be a top 5 quarterback because he sat for 2 years? Are you projecting him to be a top 5 quarterback because he sat behind Aaron Rodgers? Nobody's talking about Jordan Love like the next big thing because he's not going to be the next big thing. I think the trade, what the Packers end up doing at the quarterback position, if they do decide to move away from Aaron Rodgers, might surprise some people because did they trade up to get Jordan Love? I don't remember. 2020 draft so long ago. They spent a first round pick on Jordan Love. I'm willing to bet if Aaron Rodgers is not the starting quarterback week 1 for the Green Bay Packers in 2022, it's also not going to be Jordan Love.
Can we get petty?
I'm willing to bet, dude. Like you know who would be the perfect quarterback in that system? Jameis Winston.
All right. First of all, We are blessed with the presence of the drippiest person on 49ers
Steph's
Twitter.
here. I love
Steph, yeah, and I got a chance to meet Steph in LA, and I didn't get enough time to spend with her because Steph's vibing, she's moving, and everything, But shout out to her for joining. Anybody who's in here needs to be subscribed to the 49er podcast with her and Angelina Martin. 1 year ago, we did a podcast, and that was my favorite podcast in the world, and we were lucky enough to do that. But I just want to read this tweet really quick on here because I'm petty and I think it's hilarious.
Open invite to Steph and Angie, by the way. Just
absolutely.
Let Angie know. Streets need to know.
So, Robert Boucher, Bob Boucher, on Twitter. This is so good. I love this so much. Just got to say, my cousin is a starter on the 49ers. Now, take that for whatever it is. And the entire team laughs at AD 49ers, saying he simps for Jimmy, acts like a big shot, but is just a little guppy in Jimmy's entourage. And he confirmed he's indeed the midget in my profile picture. I think it is the funniest thing I've ever seen, and I will laugh at that. And I am so glad whoever this is. I don't care. That's hilarious, man. It's after dark. We can dunk on people, man. What the hell?
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, we're not going to do that on a podcast. We're not giving nobody no free promotion.
Yes, no, absolutely. But I will also say, congratulations. Next topic. Okay. You got it out of your system.
I did. I thought that was hilarious.
Joey, if Lance sat for 2 years and that means Trey third year, he'd only have one foot. That's also a very good point. I didn't even think about it like that.
Yes.
I didn't even think about it like that. That's a very good point.
I would only be willing to put him in that situation for the two names that were named. Aaron Rodgers is not coming here. Tom Brady's not. Anybody else, I don't care. Not Kirk, not Carr, not nobody. Just let the kid play.
Not even Jameis. And that's big coming from me. But yeah, no, Trey Lance is going to be the starter. And I try not to get involved in these conversations because I feel like it's gotten – it's gotten toxic with the Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo argument. I understand why people are slow to let go of Jimmy Garoppolo. I absolutely understand it. He was a great quarterback. Great quarterback's nice, not the right word. He's a good quarterback, but in terms of his status, not his on the field part was great, but his status with what he was with Niner fans is great because he gave you that hope. He gave you that hope for the first time in 6 years, and to me. I don't know if I want to get in this conversation at this point. Because I think the player he's most comparable to in terms of his footprint on the 49ers is Colin Kaepernick, right? They both kind of had the same impact, but to me, the reason I give that little edge to Jimmy Garoppolo in this conversation, and I understand who Kaepernick is. I'm not using this to diminish anything he's done off the field because he's a great human for what he's done and all that stuff. I'm just talking about what he did for the 49ers. Kaepernick took a team who was already an NFC championship team and just made them that much better. The Niners had those expectations. And whether it's because of Jimmy Garoppolo. When Jimmy Garoppolo came in, the Niners went from a very bad team to a serviceable one to a Super Bowl team. Whether or not how much Jimmy Garoppolo had to do with that, I don't know. So to me, I have Garoppolo over Kaepernick in terms of just impact of who they were. So I understand why people don't want to let go of him, but it's time to let go. The cap situation makes sense to let go of him. Be excited about the future because this is the first time the 49ers have taken a real shot on a kid since Colin Kaepernick. And that was pretty damn fun. So if anything, the Niners are going to be more exciting next year. So look forward to that. And that's kind of my rant on the Jimmy Garoppolo fans who are slow to let go of what's going on because of what he was. I get it. I don't want to diminish what he was, but it's time to look forward to the future and it's going to be fun. There it is. There's my spiel. You want to talk about Tupac again? Because that was fun.
No, but I think we should wrap it up.
We should wrap it up?
Yeah. I got to get some food. It's like almost 10:15 on my side.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, let the kid play, man. I mean, at this point, again, a lot of what happened in the NFC Championship game left me with some sort of peace because I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to worry about it. Like, turn the page.
Yes.
You know how many teams make the NFC Championship and they're sitting there in limbo like, well, can this quarterback get it done? Well, can we do this? Like the 49ers have a team that was that close to a Super Bowl, but they also have a guy right away in the wings waiting to be good. So that's what, look, I walked out of SoFi. I was sad, but I also was like, man, I'm ready for the future. And unless that in immediate future means Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, then the future is Trey Lance. Like, go ahead and stop playing. Stop playing games and just get it done and see what you got. Because there is a discussion about whether, them flirting with other quarterbacks is an indictment on Trey Lance, and that's fair. I don't feel like that. If it's Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, I don't feel like that. I don't feel like they're sitting there like, oh, well, I don't know what we got in Trey. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But just see what the kid's got. Please, man. At this point, please. He's played 10 quarters of football. Please.
And they've been fun.
Yeah.
Arizona wasn't fun. But like
that was a close game, though.
Even to that point, if you want to be negative about Lance and worried about it, playing him is good because if he's not it, you find out that answer quicker as well. If we're holding on, afraid of what it is, at some point you just got to open the box and you got to find out what he actually is, whether it's good or bad. Because if it's good, then the Niners are going to be very good for the next 5-10 years, whatever it may be. But if it's bad, you got to fix something. So.
And that's it. Like, a lot of us have gotten to a point where we're trying to figure out body language and like track the actions. Did they pick Trey Lance because they were just like, oh, well, maybe we'll see? No. They're behind that. That's what they want. And T.O.'s absolutely right.
Jimmy Garoppolo played in the Super Bowl, and a month later, the Niners were trying to get Tom Brady. That's just kind of what it is.
TB and A-Rod want to play for the Niners. So, look, here's what you do. You bring in Brady. You let Rodgers back up, and then you put Lance on the practice squad. Like, let's get nuts.
I mean, the defense was so good because Lance was on the practice squad. He was the rep team. Can I take one question? I think I think Kyle's afraid of. Yes,
Paul's right.
This is terrifying.
100%.
Like okay, listen,
100%.
man. I'm gonna get a little philosophical here. I don't mean to, but like, you know how terrifying it must be to be Kyle Shanahan right now. Like, he doesn't show it. And I know we look at these coaches as like higher than human levels because they're on TV every week and they're making millions of dollars. Kyle Shanahan's a human being, and he's taken a very large gamble on this 22-year-old kid out of North Dakota State, where when we find out if Trey Lance is good or not is going to be about the time where Kyle Shanahan's contract is expiring. A lot is riding on this 22-year-old kid. So and that's part of why I think he's so much comfortable with Jimmy Garoppolo, is because he looks at Jimmy Garoppolo and he says, "You're not the best, but I know I can get to a Super Bowl with you."
And they love him.
I've done
and
it.
The team,
and the players
team
love him. The team loves him. So you need to understand, like, I get the very pro Trey Lance people saying, like, just find out what he is. He's better than Garoppolo. What if he's not? And Kyle Shanahan didn't have to find that answer out this year, and that's why he went with Jimmy Garoppolo with one bionic arm. I know you can go. I'm talking. No, I'm joking.
No. You're right. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking.
Oh, I thought you were wrapping me up. It's
no. When I'm pointing to this, is Kyle was pushing the clock back. Again, his clock starts when Trey starts, and that's when people will really evaluate him because Trey's his guy. Kyle's never had his guy. That's the point. I'm not wrapping you up.
I thought that's what that meant.
No, I'm talking about Kyle knew I can reset my clock and this team can win games with Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm good with that. And they did. They were, look, who can argue right now? Who can argue right now with what happened? I know the 49ers team should be playing in this game on Sunday. But who can argue when they were 3-5? Who can argue with what they did after? And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, and I mean, for the we want to fire Kyle Shanahan group, who I know, because I know they exist and I don't agree.
Not many of them.
Yeah, they not a lot of them exist, but they do exist, man. Like this is a big situation for Kyle because he's not fireable right now because A, he's too good, and B, his contract's too long, right? He's still got what, 5 years on this? But in 2 years, if Trey Lance is bad and we're already talking about trying to replace him, the 4 years left on that contract is now 2 years, and that's a lot easier to fire. So it's Shanahan has a lot riding on this, whether we realize it or not right now, because everything's feeling good. The Niners are going to a 22-year-old quarterback a year removed from an NFC Championship appearance. Everything feels great, and hopefully everything stays sunshines and rainbows. But if it gets to the last Harry Potter movie of darkness, Harry Potter, dude, the last Harry Potter level of darkness, this era from 49ers football is likely over.
Andrew,
so it is what it is.
Let's wrap this up with one more hip hop discussion. So apparently there's some sort of surprise in this halftime show, and a lot of people are pointing to a Tupac hologram, which would be dope. That would be amazing. But someone just threw a curveball on Twitter, which kind of makes sense.
Who threw the curveball?
Sid the Catfish.
Who said the cat? Okay, here we go. She tweets a lot.
What if it's a Nipsey Hussle hologram? Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh. I would absolutely love that because of the impact that Nipsey had while he was here for the short time that he was here. And I mean, if it's Tupac or it's Nipsey, I never thought that could be the thing. But man, would I go nuts if it was a Nipsey hologram, man? And they played racks in the middle. They played racks in the middle. They played any of Nipsey's dope records, man. That would be incredible, man. It really would.
I'm gonna say a thing about Nipsey Hussle.
Here we go.
I had no idea who he was before he had a song in MLB The Show. I forget what song it was. So I didn't know who he was until that song in that show, and then I started listening to him, and he's so good. Like that would be a Biggie Smalls hologram. Have they confirmed? So first of all, I have a lot of questions about this right now.
No, there are questions that no. Someone with a check mark was saying that there's one really big surprise in this halftime show.
Have they?
And as a hip hop connoisseur, I've gotta evaluate it all. This is my hip hop show. This isn't Guns N' Roses. This isn't the Rolling Stones. This is literally like you're talking about the pillar of LA music, and they have this entire halftime show in the palm of their hand. I grew up with The Chronic. I grew up with Doggy Style. I grew up with all of those albums. Like, I don't think you understand. Just because I don't live in Cali doesn't mean I don't understand the impact. So yeah, one of these things has to happen.
Well, so have they confirmed it's a hologram?
No, but someone said something would happen. And look, it's easy. The only other thing that I could think of a living person that would pop out is Cube.
Yeah, but
Ice Cube is all right, Andrew.
At the same time,
Ice Cube.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with Ice Cube, but at the same time, there is one person here that doesn't fit the mold of the other four, and that's Kendrick, right? Because Mary J. Blige, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and Dr. Dre, they're all, they're known for, way back when. Kendrick's newer. Like, what if it's like Drake? What if it's somebody more? I don't know what Drake. I don't know. I'm just throwing out Drake. I'm just throwing names. What if it's somebody more current? I guess is my point.
I think it's this whole LA thing is someone.
Yeah,
someone, right? Like Neil says, Easy, Tupac, Nipsey, Kobe.
I don't know if the world's ready for a Kobe one yet.
No, I would just cry like a baby on the TV, man.
Maybe it's Eric Dickerson.
Christ.
Huh. I would be interested in some. I think a hologram would be fun.
Yeah, I think it will. But yeah, we should probably get out of here. We're getting on 2 hours.
Dude, I love this. I'm having a great time. But yeah, we'll get out of here, guys. We love all of you. I don't know. You have any last second things you want to say?
No, thank you guys again. If you're here, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. We've got plenty coming. Hopefully, I'm sitting here waiting for my combine approval. Like hopefully I didn't do too much.
Man.
Hopefully I didn't do too much at the Senior Bowl where they were just like, we can't allow that man on the field because he's a menace, and just, hopefully, if I get that, then the content goes to the roof. But appreciate all of you rocking with us, man, because it is the off season, and it shows it shows how much you guys enjoy our content, and that means more than anything at this point.
I like Emiliano's suggestion. That'd be really interesting. Ice Cube comes out and performs No Vaseline for billions of people.
Oh my God, man. That's what I'm saying.
I have a hard time picturing Ice Cube, the man who was in what's the road trip movies, performing No Vaseline at this point.
I have a hot take.
I think we might say the same thing.
And I'm gonna end the show because I don't want to hear any more discussion after it, because we will be here for another. No Vaseline is way harder than hit him up.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll allow that.
All right. Thank you for joining the show.
We love you guys.
Me and Andrew enjoy you. And let's go Niners.
Let me tease real quick, and then we'll go Let's Go Niners. It's a really good time to make sure you're subscribed to us on Spotify,
audio,
Apple, wherever audio. It's a really good time. That's a hint. That's a tease. Take it for what it's worth. So there's, for those of you who stuck around, you're the ones who love us. You're the ones who listen to us all the time. We love you. Now's a good time to make sure you're subscribed on this
audio.
Podcast. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners. Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.